Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live, only 5 minutes late. That is 100% on me. I lost track of time and looked at my clock at 2:03, and I was like, and that was after Jason asked me what time we were going live. Jason told me we went live in like 2 hours. So
Jason was here first.
I
went on
know.
Around I think 2:00, and he was sitting here patiently. I let us both in. Tried to spiffy up the place.
It's yeah. I mean, the Legion's Con was amazing. Conventions are fun. Doing all that stuff is like awesome. But when you go as a vendor, and especially in the situation that I'm currently in, working for Spiro, but also working on Space Zombies from Mars, there was a lot of like meetings and things like that. Like meetings, pretty like loose way to describe conversations with people that I needed to have conversations with. But then you get back, and it's like I got back later than I thought I would. I was delayed, so I got back a day after when I thought I would. So all the things that I thought I was going to do sort of on the day that I got back, which was Veterans Day for you guys in the US and Remembrance Day in Canada, kind of went out the window because I got home and I was tired and I had to unpack and all that stuff I had planned to do, on the Monday. So it's just like I feel like I'm not caught up yet. Like it's like you get back from the con, and if you just go as sort of a guest, if you're just sort of going to go to the convention, you get back and you kind of decompress and you kind of reflect. I haven't even had time to do that yet. I haven't posted any of my pictures that I took. I haven't posted anything. Like I haven't even opened all the stuff that I picked up. So it's just like it's a crazy time to sort of be toy collecting, because there's just so much good stuff.
It was fun watching you try to fit all the toys into your carry-on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jason's a pretty big haul too. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he got a lot.
I usually take pictures of it, but it was Jason's always like excited for Sunday evening when I have to sit down and figure out how I'm gonna get all these things Tetrised into a suitcase. and
it's like pre-Christmas too. I get to watch you like open all the toys and then consolidate the toys into boxes after. So
you brought some boxes home, no? Did I not see it in your haul pickup? Or maybe you took that haul pick before you left?
Me or Adam?
Adam.
So I haven't even posted that pick yet. The boxes that I posted are Extreme Sets Dios that I picked up because they got shipped to Jason for me to bring home in my luggage. So they didn't really so they were underneath all the other stuff, and I meant to post, another picture, and I just literally have been going full speed for the last week, and took the picture of the stack of Extreme Sets Dios, and just haven't even had a chance to post that yet. Let alone pictures of the selfie pictures and like, hey, it was great hanging out with everybody. Like I'm seeing them and I'm getting tagged in them. And I'm like, I have pictures too. I actually did it. I did it right this year. And I actually made sure to take pictures.
I made a point too to take a bunch of selfies with fans and friends. And I felt like I did pretty good. There was so much cool stuff at the show this year. I was a little worried that they would have trouble not outdoing last year because of the dragon, but following up with something just because it was such a really epic item. And even though it was an awesome thing, or I don't want to call it a figure. It's almost like its own play set, I mean, I didn't have the room for it. So while it was cool and exciting to see it, it wasn't as in my wheelhouse because I knew there was no way for me to store it or display it anywhere. So this year, I watched it and I was like, cool. There's only 2 figures that I don't have to have. It was all stuff that I really wanted and that I could fit in with Animal Warriors and it was exciting to see the Warriors of Eden. Is that what they're called? The dinosaurs?
Defenders
of Eden. I've been looking forward to that for so long and I was kind of shocked at how big they are.
This is the first set, right? Not new.
Yeah, I told Matthew, I was like, just bring it to the show. And I told Adam, I was like, I saved $20 on shipping and have this giant headache because they're freaking huge, I should have just had it shipped to the house. And then I still shipped it home anyway. So it didn't make any sense. Yeah, look how big the figures are. Yeah. So I played with the Brontosaurus or the long neck. And then I just opened up the other two so I could box them up and send them. But I'm so excited about those figures. What else?
Good on you, dude. You opened them up right away.
Figures would be there, but they didn't go this year. I think they're like really concentrating on just getting over the finish line. So
who was that? I missed it.
What's that?
Who was that? The second company?
Is it the Metaverse? I always get
Meta Travelers.
Meta Travelers, yeah. So I'm so excited about those. And then what else? I picked up 3 Mythic Legions figures, which isn't a lot compared to most people, but I just essentially picked up the stuff that I wanted to get at the show. And 2 of those were exclusive. So I was a happy camper. Like I didn't want to like go ape to be, make a pun or whatever.
He waits. Pause for applause.
Yeah. And that's my TED Talk.
I was watching something recently where somebody like told a joke and they were like, yeah, that joke would have landed in a different audience. So I'm just pausing to wait for you to laugh so that I can move on.
What was the line again? What did you say, Jason? Go what?
Say again. I'm sorry.
What did you say? Was it go? What was your joke? Go ape?
I didn't want to go ape. Thank you, folks. I'll be here all night. Make sure you tip your bartenders.
Got it. No, that's awesome. Honestly, I backed the Armies of Ashmore Kickstarter. I've only opened one of them, and so like I think I have I only have one other. I bought 2 figures and then the sort of heads pack and I think a weapons pack or something. But I've only been able to actually unbox and it's just chilling here. The one I showed you. So I'm sitting on a lot of unopened toys, but
I'm glad I opened the long neck there because I couldn't figure out how to put the neck together. And so Adam did that. I was frustrated. I was like, I'm just trying to watch Frankenstein and put the dang neck on.
Is it complicated?
I was just watching the movie and it was like, I was like, I don't know what the deal is with this thing. And he's got the green one in the background. So he knows how it goes together.
Oh yeah.
I think
total tangent, but how was that movie though?
I thought it was great. Like,
oh my God.
I saw a couple of people fussing about it and I was like, you guys don't know how to have fun at all. It's kind of like that chronic internet thing where they're like, I don't have anything to say or contribute, but I want to be heard. So I'll just complain about it.
Have you watched the Netflix making of, I think it's called Anatomy of a Monster, maybe? Frankenstein?
No, but I would like to watch it. I'll check it out.
God, I could listen to that guy talk about films, literature, everything. And then it's definitely him, but then it's also like all the production folks, the costume folks, the set designers, everything behind that. I'm a sucker for behind the scenes stuff, but like I
love featurettes.
And the intelligence that he kind of brings to it and sort of hearing a little bit more about it. So it highly recommended.
I've only watched the Kenneth Branagh version once and I really, really enjoyed it. And I felt like Guillermo really enjoyed that movie. So
is that the Robert De Niro one?
It is the Robert De Niro one. Yeah. So
I completely blanked that Kenneth Branagh was involved in that. I remember.
Yeah, he directed it. I believe he was in the movie, but I don't remember. Yeah, I'm almost positive he was in it, but I know he directed it. So
really, really, really well done.
So we got the chat going on here.
Yeah, let's just say hello to the chat.
I think Adam got sucked into a spreadsheet real quick.
We have to get.
No, I'm still trying to put slides together.
Got it. So the Frankenstein talk. No, I'm just kidding.
So they were. Someone said we need to get Brick a shirt.
I didn't even catch that. What is it?
It's the Spiro Boys shirt. So we got all of this stuff. Like 2 days after, we got all of our shirts for the show
in the vehicle.
2 days after I got home. It's an homage to the what is it, Dukes of Hazzard?
Oh, them Dukes.
So we're wearing these because that's another fun anecdote from the show. Jason was so excited to get, because I've had this shirt for a while. I actually had this shirt when I went to WonderCon, and Jason was really excited to get one. He's like, we're gonna wear them on Friday when we're walking around and when we do all of our setup and all this kind of thing. I was like, okay, great. And he's like, and I got another new shirt that we're gonna do on Saturday, and then one for Sunday. And we had we're gonna have all new shirts, and I was so excited. Jason was excited, and we're tracking, and the shirts just kind of aren't moving. Like they're just not going anywhere. So, I'm packing on Wednesday night, and I'm like, hey, I don't think those shirts are going to show up. And they didn't. None of them showed up. They were in separate shipments. So we just had to wear, old shirts. Jason, you had your Legions Con 2023 shirt on, I think, on Sunday.
I did, yeah. Well, I had luckily I did have that because I wasn't supposed to leave till Friday at 10 o'clock. And I was going to our little local storage area to get the Space Zombie diorama and an older AWOK diorama because the diorama, our really cool diorama, is apparently lost. It was at Titan Toys, and we don't know where that's at. Anyway, I was on my way to get there, and I got a notice from the airport saying, hey, listen, your flight tomorrow is canceled. However, you can fly out in 40 minutes. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. But all of my cold clothes were gone. Like I didn't have any clothes. I went to Walmart and bought pants and a little bit of warm clothing. So a lot of
New
stuff.
Jersey, he did that.
What's that?
So he not like you didn't buy that stuff on your way. You
bought stuff in
New Jersey.
We bought it when we were there's a Walmart like right down the street. And it worked out, but I got there around 1:30 because there were several delays.
AM.
And I waited outside for my cab in New Jersey. And I think it was, Adam's gonna think this is funny, but I think it was around like the low 40s, which normally isn't bad, but the wind was just atrocious. So whenever I got to the hotel, I went and used the restroom in the lobby, and I looked and my eyes were like blood red. I was like, man, it felt a little dry, but I was like, holy crap. So I took a photo of that because it looked ridiculous. And then the next day we bought me some clothes, and I think we might have bought some toys at some point. There's no way to know. We can't prove anything either way. So
I'm like a month and a half behind on my.
That's a cool shirt, though. I like that.
Yeah. It's my Freddy. He's the dreamer in the
dreamer.
That's hilarious.
Wait a minute.
So yeah, we need to get you a shirt. Well, we need to get you the other 2 shirts for WonderCon. So because it's a 3-day event, right?
WonderCon.
Yes.
Yeah. WonderCon's 3 days, right?
Oh, in May? Sure.
Yeah.
Start shipping them now. They might get here.
March. Yeah.
That's
March.
the plan.
Is it March? Oh yeah, March. You're right.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll order yours and just ship Adam's as well. Adam, I just washed yours. Like I just washed them all together. So they'll be nice and clean and ready to wear.
I just wear them dirty. I don't even care.
I hear you.
Stinky kids.
I have to clean them at least once.
Stinky kids.
All right. Without further ado, let's say hello to the chat. Many of these people we actually sort of saw and met in person.
Hello to the chat.
Too, so that's kind of cool. Simone Barreto, Green Shell Greg, Pickle D, Sean Colleran was not at the convention. Patex Alonso, El Spooky Zorro, Mr. Wonderful, Seb Leduc, Mr. Ryan Clark, Red 5, The Rebel Basis 1992, Joe Menhoza, JMax 774, Bush Chris, who is of course in another life Christopher Bouchard, Game Quest, Scott Baker, Dork Lair is here as well. Brian Carr, it was great to meet Brian Carr.
I hope Tiffany I hope she hops on. I don't know if she knows the show's on today.
I don't know.
I felt bad because
she knows.
No, go ahead. Tell that story.
She was visiting with us was it Sunday night?
That was
it was Sunday
after
night
the show.
And we had ordered our food and she was visiting with us and the hostess kept trying to shoo her away. I was like, it's okay, let her talk to us. It's not. You're not hurting. She's not hurting anyone. Let her visit.
Oh, was she shooing them away, sort of like because she was getting in the way of her work, or she felt
the
bit
other
of
like you were being crowded or something?
Was eating, and
a little bit of A, a little bit of B.
While she was talking to me, and the hostess was worried that my food was going to get cold, and I was thinking it's going to be too hot. I'm going to burn my mouth and not enjoy this. So let's visit and let it cool off, and that's exactly what happened.
That's amazing.
And that's my story.
The hostess at the Old Shebeen, which is the Irish pub restaurant that's in the hotel, the Legion's Con Hotel, is easily my favorite employee that works in that hotel. She is. I've never had an interaction with her that wasn't like fun for me. She has the same sort of sensibility that I do of like being grumpy, but also being really genuinely, I think, a nice person. But doesn't put up with bullshit.
Right.
So she was in there.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. She could be
a
total jerk.
It's funny you say that because, I just thought she was like, let him eat his food so that, let him eat his food. But I just thought he's going to send that back to the kitchen because it was cold and we didn't serve it to you cold. You know what I mean? I wonder if that's the angle that she was thinking, I don't know.
Love you, Tiffany. I didn't actually get to meet her.
I hope she hops on.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet her last year, and she's like, "Great, we're gonna meet this year." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be there this year."
Well, next year.
Yeah, so that's
the thing is
funny.
We were planning on having the brawlers at the show, and then we found out we weren't going to have it. So we were like, okay, last year we needed a ton of people. This year, let's do pivot. Wait.
No, I was just listening to what you were saying, and that's like that was the pivot. Is that we thought we were going to have the brawlers at Legion's Con.
We thought we were going to have the brawlers, and
we were loosely assured that they would be there on time. And then when it sort of came down to when they needed to be shipped, or when we thought they needed to be shipped, they weren't going to be shipped.
So then we had a good talk with Dave. We figured out, we had 2 SKUs scheduled for our summer release, which would be our buffer wave between the brawlers and the lizards, or the reptiles. And they were essentially done except for accessories and packaging. So that gave, me about 3 days to get the packaging done and to them. And for them to do the accessories in the meantime. And they shipped them out Monday their time, which was Sunday our time. So it was very tight to be generous. It was going to be.
They weren't even sure it was going to show up.
Yeah.
No, it was even tighter than that. Yeah. They shipped them Monday afternoon in China. They didn't get picked up by was it FedEx? UPS. It was UPS.
It was UPS.
They didn't get picked up by UPS until very late Monday. There was no movement on them until Tuesday in North America.
Right.
And we were tracking them, and the tracking said will be delivered Wednesday. And we were like, I mean, that would be crazy. Who knows? UPS is putting these things out there. Then there was a tragic plane crash in Kentucky involving a UPS plane, which delayed everything. So it went from Wednesday to Thursday, and then Thursday morning rolled around. It went from Thursday to Friday, and we were sort of like, okay, we might not get these at all. These might arrive at the hotel on Monday once we're gone. So part of the reason that we didn't share any of this with anybody in this it was really only about 2 weeks leading up to Legion's Con. Part of the reason we didn't share anything with anybody is because we literally didn't know if these things were going to get there or not, and they literally didn't until Friday afternoon. Like we had arrived, we had settled into the hotel, we were tracking it. It said on a truck for delivery. But if you live anywhere that's not sort of a major area, that on a truck for delivery doesn't even necessarily anymore mean that it's going to get delivered. They were on a truck for delivery like 6 a.m. And they didn't get delivered till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
It was Friday 4 o'clock. We were trying to figure out what we wanted to load in first because the display tables are heavy. and there was stuff in front of it. So we were like essentially coordinating that stuff. And while we were doing that, we got the notice that they arrived. So we ran to the front desk. We said, "Oh, hey, go back to the back. They're delivering them now." And we basically got them while we were trying to figure out the logistics of getting everything into the ballroom.
That's crazy.
Whew. So not getting the T-shirts in the grand scheme of things was not as important as the fact that we did get those figures in time.
It's so so good. And can you hold those figures up again? But it's so good that you were able to actually have something sort of newer to have.
So while he's holding that up, you want to give him the full screen or?
Yeah, I mean it's the same size.
It is okay. Yeah. So while he's holding that up, we were setting up the tables and we noticed that there was no electrical. Last year we had everything like set up to where we could just basically plug it in and light the tables and run the register and all that. But they didn't have that set up this time. And we were also coordinating with Ben and Skeletron, to get them into the show. They were trying to get a table and they weren't able to get the table. So we were going to share our space with Skeletron, but they got their own table across from us, or their own booth space across from us. And while they were setting up, they noticed that they had a access to a small electrical socket. And we were going to plug into theirs. And then we noticed that we had one as well. So we got everything set up, plugged it all in. And then I noticed that we were missing the last 2 AC cords to finish it off and actually give power to the booth. And it was one of those things where it was like so close that it was annoying me a little bit. And Adam was like, "Don't forget, we got those 2 SKUs in." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to let it go." So electricity next time. It'll be lit next time.
And that's the thing. We did have electricity. We hijacked electricity because last year we paid extra for it and they were like, "Okay, you can plug in here or whatever." This year there just wasn't any.
No power.
But we were missing a box. So we were missing a couple of SKUs too. So we were supposed to have like a couple of the older SKUs. Like it wasn't that big of a deal in the end, but there was a couple of electrical cords along with some product, but in the grand scheme of things, it was fine.
For people attending Legion's Con, understand that like Legion, like the guys putting on the show were paying like insane amounts of electricity. Like they were footing the bill for the vendors. So it's just was not practical for them to do. If you've been in the ballroom, it's not set up for that type of event. So they really like ding them for just providing electricity. So it's totally understandable that it's not offered this year or going forward unless the facilities make some sort of change. I don't see them offering electrical. But anyway,
that's pretty standard, though. I mean, it
is, especially
standard
for like
to charge
area.
For people for it.
Right, of course. Yeah, like we've been to conventions where they charge electricity. One of the ones that I think is like particularly exorbitant is the Comic Palooza. They charge outrageous amounts for electrical and Wi-Fi. So it was at that show that I decided to get one of the little traveling power plants. It almost looks like a car battery, and then our hotspot, so that we don't have to worry about that stuff. But just in the chaos of trying to get there, I didn't bring the little power plant to get it working.
Yeah, and Brian says I always bring an extension cord and power strip. Smart. That wasn't our problem. We actually had an extension cord and a power strip. It was for anybody, you think of an old laptop computer that used to have that cord that plugs into the computer, and then it has the box, and then it has the cord that goes into the wall. We were missing just the cord that goes into the wall. Right. So it's specific to the like box, and it was
the adapter.
We kind of looked around and we were like, I mean, could we get one from Target or Walmart, get it delivered or something like that? But then in the end, it's like, because where we are, which is like the back of the show, and across from us is a wall, the only people that would really see it are people that are just sort of in front of the table. But by then you're kind of at the table anyway. So it was like, you know what? Let's not spend the extra money. We'll just leave it. We had the new figures. We had a great looking display. I think we had lots of product, and I think people were pretty excited to come and hang out and talk to us and ask us when they were going to get their elephant on Amazon. And they didn't know why they didn't have it yet. And,
really? Oh man.
Well, it's just that
you had people pre-ordering and putting it up on Amazon, and we were like, who's doing that?
Right. Yeah.
Like, we can't control that type of stuff. That's third-party stuff. It's like people selling on eBay, and it's just part of the reseller culture. Not judging, it's just an observation.
Yeah. So, should we quickly talk about the 2 SKUs that we did get?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I mean, people are interested, and I will mention that that we will be for anybody that's in the chat, we will be giving away, or we will try to give away. If I can figure out, I'm gonna have to figure that out right now. Or Britt, do you know how to do that? The
giveaway tool,
tag thing.
There's a tool.
Yeah, there is.
You're the tool.
Like,
I thought that was me. Yeah,
Jason's just gonna randomly pick a name. so no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
But yeah, we got 2 new SKUs. Just a very, very small amount of them too. We should stress that like we did not get a full range of these figures. We got sort of enough for the convention, and then we actually set aside enough to fulfill any existing pre-orders for those figures, assuming your pre-order doesn't include all of Series 2. So if you didn't get yours and you're angry, feel free to message me and I'll see if I can sort of wrangle one. But if you have 20 items in an order, we didn't split ship them. But if you had ordered, these 2 figures, when we had them up for a very, very brief pre-order, you probably already got a shipping notification that they're on their way to you. One other thing I will mention is that because everything was in such a rush, like we were talking to Dave, like I said, about 2 weeks before Legion's Con, and we were sort of like, okay, do we have an alternate scenario where we can get anything to the show in time? And he said, well, we have the figures made, but the accessories aren't. So there was a lot of back and forth, rapid fire, texts very late at night that were like, can you approve these colors? And approving colors and hoping that Jason was not totally in disagreement with me approving certain things, because I knew he was sound asleep.
Yeah, I approved I approved the next morning.
But everything was just super touch and go, and he goes, oh, there's one hang up, and we were like, what is it? And he's like, well, we can't get the production trays, like the plastic tray that the figure goes in. Those have to be sort of done as we finalize them, and then we send them to sort of get done as a separate thing. He's like, and I was thinking put them in a Ziploc bag. I genuinely the figures getting to the convention are what's important. He said, but we can do these kind of test shot trays. So basically they can do them in-house, kind of rapid print these ones that are a little bit thinner. So if you get the figure and you're angry about the tray, that's okay too. Let me know.
Are those are we talking the vacuform trays that you
come with? Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So it's a little
the ones that you got, are they still vacuum?
Oh, they still work. Yeah. They
but
still
they're custom
work perfectly
to the thing.
fine.
Gotcha.
But they're custom to the thing.
It's
And the reason you can't see
one.
the figure is because they also have they put a kind of a cellophane
on
film
top
over it, so that nothing
they didn't have time to tape
down
all the accessories.
But the good news for anybody that's keeping track, they did still have orange bags. So for anybody that's keeping track of the history of when the orange bag will disappear, this wave still has the orange bag, at least for now. The production trays might be slightly different because they might be able to sneak that stuff in, but so that's the only difference between these and the actual sort of production wave, which will come right after the brawler wave. That was sort of the schedule that was meant to be. It was supposed to be brawlers, then these, and then reptiles. We got, as I said, a small amount of these just in time, literally just in time. But for anybody that's like, oh, I want one, we don't have any extras, so you'll have to wait till they come out.
That's the fun. That's the fun of an exclusive, though, right?
To what extent, because you were holding up the Ranger and he had a different head on, so you might want to just break down what's actually in it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the I have the other head, but I've put it away.
It's
I mean,
very
just to let them
similar
know,
to the
like,
Onyx. Similar to Onyx's head. I believe the nose is painted and the eyes are a different color. So I think Onyx's eyes are maybe red.
I think it's.
I don't have any, so I don't know.
I think it's I'm not 100% certain. I was going to ask you, Jason. I think it's a slightly different shade. Like it's one shade off,
definitely different
in terms of the plastic color.
Yeah.
But it's the Onyx head, which is also, if you have Core Dune, it's the Core Dune head, like it's buried on my shelf. But yeah, you've seen both heads. So the heads are pre-existing. They just got repainted. As far as like new stuff goes,
it's like this, but a totally different character.
You're right. Yeah, it's like that, but completely different. Hold on. There we go.
There you go.
It's almost all pre-existing parts. So that torso we've seen before, the skirt, the greaves, the heads we've seen before, the strap we've seen before. What is new is the arrow. We've got sort of a version 2 of the bow, which is, in my opinion, far superior to the original one.
Agreed.
And then we get a quiver. And the quiver, in this case, has 2 arrows and a dagger in it. So there's plenty of storage. To put 3 arrows in there, it's weird. To put 3 arrows in there is a little bit snug, but 2 arrows and a dagger fits perfectly. So he can basically carry everything apart from his extra head, which I think is pretty darn cool. I personally, I prefer this head. This is going to be sort of the leader of my Fairlist Rangers. But in the package, you get the other head as the as sort of the in-box sort of main.
So if you read issue, oh wait, never mind. It's the rabbits at the end of issue 5. Never mind. Disregard. Man, I had a crazy Mandela effect. That's wild.
for something you created.
Yes, it's horrible. That was the other universe. Jesus. I'm totally gonna get dementia when I'm older. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, the that head looks really great. The lion head looks really great in that colorway.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we do, like we were saying, we've chatted. I think probably more with Dave Proctor, the project manager, more in the last 3 weeks than we have in probably the last several months. Do we want to talk a little bit about that? Do we want to show some pictures? Do you want me to
let's talk about it, and then let's talk about it, and then we'll show those products. Yeah,
I've been sitting on this info for too long. Let it out.
Yeah. So this will all be in an update too. So if you don't catch it, you can either watch the replay or wait for the Kickstarter update, because I'm going to send all this information to Brick with notes and very specific details. And I might even get some of this stuff wrong, because it's going to be pretty, it's a bit of a shotgun blast of information coming at you guys very, very
and we'll probably, are you going to share it all right now? Is that the plan?
We'll go through it really quick. I'm not going to go into any crazy depth. I'll give you more details for the update.
Yeah, because based on the conversations, I think it's probably smarter to kind of focus a little bit more, but we won't put it all out in one update, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, I'll just share some of these pictures, just sort of so people can kind of see. Click.
And don't show Travis. Travis is not allowed to see any of this.
Yeah, I think we can. I mean, we could block
I'll boot them out
in the chat, but I don't think we can block them from the actually seeing it, unfortunately. So we got some basically some production sample pictures from Dave. Well, hold on. Let me start at the beginning. This is the beginning. So basically, what he sends us is pictures along with these sort of plastic chips. And says, okay, this is going to be the base plastic for the product. So, what you're seeing there is the sort of pre-tooled sample paint masters for the Brawler figures. So you've got Hannibal's arm, Oxidus's arm, and Kali's arm, and then they send us. And I think I have that one. So that's Hannibal's arm plastic piece. So they send us the pictures and then they send us the samples so that we can actually sort of see them in different light. You don't have to just rely on one dimly lit picture, in a factory. And we kind of go, okay, yeah, that's the color that we want for the base. And then that's what any paint apps or any tampos sort of go on over top of the base plastic. And for Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, obviously a lot of what you get is base plastic, but there's a lot of time spent to pick the right plastic so that they're all not just gray. There was a lot of back and forth about, well, what is horrid blue? We had it's like, hey, can you make this horrid blue to match this thing? And so we had to sort of go back and forth a bunch. But this is sort of the really glamorous stuff that we're dealing with in terms of getting these things done. The actual dates and sort of updates, we'll share that. And Brick, I'll share that with you. But the Brawlers are, we're very optimistic right now in terms of where we're at, because I think we've sort of really got Dave to understand that we're quite frustrated and we really need these as soon as possible. So sooner rather than later is sort of the date that I'll sort of share, but we'll share the pictures because they're kind of more fun anyway. Oops, there's Grimes's legs. So as you can see, like the foot is one color of plastic, the legs are a different color of plastic, and we get these really fun chunks of plastic and go, yep, that's the color that the foot is gonna be.
I find that they're very good at nailing the colors, the color matching. I do want to note that knee pad, I believe, is going to be a separate piece. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure Dave made that a separate piece. And during the phone call, I got the impression that, because Dave is a project manager, he is trying to problem solve all by himself, which I get. It's a noble cause, but Adam was able to kind of like siphon out the challenges that he's having, and even though we're across the world, we can offer options and other solutions to figuring out ways around the certain roadblocks that they're experiencing on their end. We found out like, way into the production that the lizards didn't have the correct depth of texture. And like, he was slowly trying to go through it himself and do it. And we were like, just tell us that, because, Dan could get that done. He sculpted the figure. Not that Dave's not a great sculptor in his own right, but he's also got, 30 other clients. So like, Dan can set the time aside to do that stuff for him,
Beyond that, we also got a bunch of painted samples for the Brawler accessories. So these are, of course, going left to right, top to bottom: Oxidus, Grimes, Hannibal, the Void, a bunch of weapons, and then Kali Prime. And these I have in my possession right now. And what I will say is this: if you liked the production quality of the figures that we've done before, these are so much better. The paint apps, the details, like everything is like next level. And I mean, I can't stress how excited I am for everything going forward. Like all these figures that I love so much, I feel like I'm going to look back in like a year or two and be like, what a bunch of junk.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that, because, we've mentioned a couple of times about being frustrated. But, Adam and I were saying how it kind of works out well that the last two figures from the previous production parts were released before these, because we feel like it would have been a little lackluster to get the Brawlers and then follow up with those other two figures, which are awesome in their own right. But these are very much like a next level or an evolution of where we started with.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because it's just sort of like in dealing with, like Legions, you guys are at Legions Con. It's a similar vibe of like, a lot of the newer versions, the 2.0, or sorry, the V2 versions of characters.
Right.
Often are like, whoa. And so I totally get that. What in the sort of other universe where things went the different way, they would have gotten these brawlers and then like, oh, these are crazy wild. And then kind of a pause. Let's go back to these older figures, which are awesome, but still, as you're saying,
I feel like a good analogy is like whenever someone gets a wave of like Spider-Man figures and one of them, 4 out of the 5 figures in the wave are pinless. And then there's that one figure that was like so cool,
right?
But it still has the pins, and people are like, why does that figure still have pins? And it's like, well, it's because it was using older resources and those figures had pins, but it's so funny you mentioned the 4 Horsemen stuff, because whenever I got home, I was kind of looking through the stuff that I had, and one of them was the first the first Legions Con I went to, which was 2022. They had like the 2-pack of like the red figures, and I picked it up and I was like, this is starting to look dated, even though it's still awesome. I was like, because we just got all this new 4 Horsemen stuff, I was like, oh yeah, it does look a little dated, So I agree. We will feel the same way once we get the new stuff in.
Yeah.
Jason Solo? And I were. Yeah, I'll bring that up in just a second. I'll just finish this thought and then we'll kind of move on past this. But when I did the reviews for these two, I did unboxing videos for these 2 figures, the Necro Armor Pale and the Fearless Ranger. If anybody wants to watch those are on the channel. If you don't want to watch them, that's fine. I don't care. But the criticism that I made, and I told Jason I'm very objective and honest about everything. The criticism that I made about them is that the figures look great, especially from the front, and then you see them from the back, and there's kind of not as many paint apps. I just wanted to sort of stress that going forward, like that's not going to be the case. Like there's tons of detail, and it's front to back, and I think it's just in terms of maturing as a line and sort of knowing what we can afford and like what makes sense in terms of pricing and things like that. There's certain places where putting that detail in isn't going to cost any more, so you should do it. Right. There are places where you're like, well, that detail is maybe not going to be seen as much, so like we'll just leave that out and stuff like that. So yeah.
And I told Adam I agreed with everything he said. I essentially would have reviewed it the same. Even if I didn't mention everything, it would have been in my head.
I'll be honest, I was surprised at how much I like this when I saw the renders.
It's a fun accessory, right? It's very Star Wars like.
The sculpt is way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Carter knocked that out the box. He did great. So while we're looking at this image, and kind of segueing back to Horrid Blue, if you look at the Void, his loincloth is a jet black. Adam mentioned that we should probably do that in a Horrid Blue to break the figure up, because the figure is black and the loincloth is black. And so that will be a Horrid Blue, which, if there's any model collectors or model painters, think along the lines of a German gray, where it's a very, very dark oceany blue color, if you have Kali, it's like the matte color of his chest. Or if you have a Horrid Infantry, it's the darker of the two.
And I've been putting this off, but I will of course bring it up. Solo Sinner says, with a $25 super chat, which he absolutely did not need to send, I would have read the comment anyway. He says, hi guys, great seeing 66% of you live at Legions Con. The freaking spirit. And Adam, if that's your real name, that is a little bit of a joke, because he tagged me as highly articulated and I commented, I do have a real name. And then he says, great Meet the Maker episode. Looking forward to more. Dan Mitchell. Dan Mitchell is definitely on my list for people that I would love to get on a video.
Dan's so shy.
Dan's like, he's like one of those, reclusive artist types that just, he's like, yeah, maybe. And then I'm like, how about now? And he's like, no, I got to do my laundry or something, like he's
not
like
for everybody.
Elusive. You can never kind of nail him down, but one day Dan's definitely on my list. Dan is a fascinating character, and I would love to pick his brain about a whole bunch of stuff. But and then for anybody that is, likes the brawlers, but is really waiting for what comes after the brawlers. Oh wait,
nope.
that's not.
Yeah,
after
you
the
show
brawlers.
that.
That's brawler related. But we'll talk about that, and then I'll get to it. And then I'll go back to my shtick here.
Okay.
This was a really interesting part of our conversation that we had with Dave. And basically, this is the head of the void minus the parts that can hurt you, because there's no eyes, there's no teeth, and what he was saying was painting the eyes as intricately as Animal Warriors of the Kingdom does, and this has been from like the first figure up until now, is really hard for a Tampo application, because they're set fairly deep, because the animals have a pretty heavy brow and like a lot of cheek going on, and there's a lot going on there. So to get in there with what is effectively a tiny little sponge and put on a tiny little amount of paint,
and it's
is very,
times.
very difficult.
Hitting it just right three times is tough. So I thought this was a brilliant
solution.
Yeah.
So this is the solution. What they've effectively done is hollowed out the sculpt. So this will be printed in one color plastic, and then the other stuff can be printed in another color of base plastic, pre-tampoed, and then effectively glued in from behind. This doesn't look that crazy. What looks crazy is what gets glued in.
That's hilarious.
That is nightmare fuel if I've ever seen it.
That's some Star Wars cosmic kind of
thing. Yeah, exactly. It does look like kind of Star Wars-ish.
Love it.
So you got like the eyes, and then the teeth, and then the lower jaw in there as well, which is very, very cool. But again, these are things that are sort of coming up as we move through production. But rest assured, anybody that's sort of like, they're not doing anything, we're doing tons of stuff. It's just a lot more than we sort of thought we might have to do, and so that's sort of where we're at. But if anybody is waiting for what's coming after the brawler wave, we're also still working on the reptiles. Don't worry. So there's the heads, the paint mastered heads with the colored chips that go along with those. So we're still making progress on all that stuff. You don't need to worry.
I have a nerdy question. When you saw those a couple weeks ago, those plastic chips, those 3 dial numbers, what are those? I've always wondered. See them on raw plastics and stuff. Is that how they identify them? There's 3 stamp number like dial numbers on the plastics.
It's probably I don't have it in front of me, but it's probably the different textures. So if you look at I'm going from memory, but if you look at the top, it's no texture, and then there's like a slight texture, and then the bottom one is a heavy texture, and it's essentially to show, hey, if there's if this is going on like a bicep or something, it's gonna have a sheen to it. If it's on the t-shirt, it'll be much less, and if it's on hair, it'll be barely noticeable. That's what I'm assuming it is.
Just wondering if you knew. If you don't, if you knew off the top. If you don't, just wondered. Nerd stuff.
I don't know, and I think Jason's incorrect. And the reason that I think that is because
Let's see.
I just very quickly looked at 2. You're talking about these little markings, right?
Yeah.
These 2 are very different durometers. Like the brown one is
very different,
pretty hard, and the blue one is much softer. The numbers on the back are exactly the same. And I was trying to decipher that myself too, because there's like things written on them as well, and I was trying to think, okay, like, is this durometer related? Is it whatever? Like, and there's things that have the exact same numbers and feel completely different, and they're different colors. So I think they just ship us these things, and there's nothing to be deciphered.
No rhyme or reason.
The color, sadly, because that's the things that I really get excited about.
Same here,
but it's. But they're just plastic chips. What's that?
Was the writing in Mandarin, or was there like English writing on there?
No, it's just numbers, and then English, Roman. Well, it's Romanized characters. I don't know if it's English or not, but it's not any sort of Asian alphabet, if that's what you're asking. This one says 8364 puck 90. I don't know what any of that means.
That might be a Pantone mixture, but I don't know.
Nope, because it's like the same, or sorry, it's not the same as this one, but like another one had the exact same numbers on it. So I think I think they throw these in an envelope and ship them off to us, and they go, here you go, and there's nothing to decipher from it. But
so we segued from like Pantone mixtures. So like if you like most people will buy like you could go on Amazon and buy a Pantone color booklet, and it'll have the mixture readout on it. We use the interior / fashion design versions, which don't have that stuff on there because it can become outdated. So in other words, like a yellow gold the variations might change over like a 3-year period.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically asking them to do color matching by site as opposed to mixing, percentages.
And they're shockingly good at it. And when you see, like, and I think every factory has the guy, and there's like a guy, and he just does it by sight, and he's just like ding, 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 mixes it up, and it's like
that was amazing. Crazy. At Intern, that was the trippy thing was that they don't. It's like we never sent Pantones because you just never know. Right. We just send the paint master. They look at the paint master and they get it almost exact. And that to think about, I mean the endless amount of colors and paints on Legion's figures. So
they
got skills.
Legions, Cornboy was talking and someone asked them that specific question. He said, we don't know. We just send them the figure and we say match that color. And I was like, that's a good idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, because they have the experience, and so
exactly.
Somewhat of a tangent, but at the end of the day, sometimes the conversations are like, "Well, why can't we just make them here?" And I was like, "Well, you could, but it's gonna be a while before it gets like the same level of quality, skill, and from experience."
Right. I mean,
you can build the machine, but you can't transport the experience,
the knowledge and experience.
Yeah, man, they're freaking talented.
It is interesting because I think American manufacturers like Henry Ford pioneered the creation of the automobile assembly line. China pioneered making action figures, so it's not like it's something that was originally in America and then got exported and then now we're trying to make our way back. It's not ever been something that's been in the United States. So there's no craftsmen that are like, oh, this is how you do that. And if you get into this problem, you do X, Y, and Z. So it would be the kind of thing where we have to have people come over and train whoever is working a new factory.
Yep. Tappity tappy tap. There's a lot of tappity tap.
No, I sent you a private message there, Brick. I just very quickly wanted to acknowledge these and say thank you again. Brian Carr, who we met for the first, I think that was the first time we met Brian Carr. But I felt like we'd met Brian Carr before. That's what was
what's
weird.
What's funny is he introduced himself, and I was like, I know who you are. My memory's not that bad. I think we might have met at ZoloCon. I think that's but I don't recall. So, but I do know who he is.
Yeah, I mean and again, Brian, I know who you are. I guess maybe that was the first time we met, though. I mean, I feel like we've chatted or gone back and forth in comments or something, but it's weird. You meet people for the first time and you're like, really? Is that? We've never.
I know. It's like, wait a second.
But anyway, $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Brian. He says those accessories look sick. The new waves are going to take AWOK to a new level and gain tons of new fans. See you at Zolo. Hoping Brawlers are there. So there you go. I think that might be Zolo might be Brian's kind of local convention.
That's what it was.
And El Spooky Zorro, Rob with a $1.99 super chat and a whole bunch of fox heads, says enough said.
Oh, I see.
He is at the top of my list as well. That's kind of end of 2026, maybe 2027. So we're pushing as hard as we can. I think we have a lot of momentum, and I think that's sort of the big thing in the last couple months is that we've sort of been building up to the dam breaking almost, because it's kind of like we've been putting in so much work behind the scenes that doesn't look like anything, but then as soon as this stuff starts shipping, it's gonna be awesome. So Patex Alonso says, any preview of the cigar Boonhead? I don't have anything. And then an emoji.
To pull it up.
Guess, but
That stuff was on my laptop that got fried. I mean, I have it in Google Drive. Let me find it in Google Drive while y'all are talking, and I'll just re-download it. And I tend to compartmentalize stuff, especially like whenever it was something very stressful. And I forgot it took around this time to get the first Kickstarter stuff. It was about 2 years, and so it's and I forget like how much stuff went on behind the scenes. So having y'all with me to help takes a lot of stress off of my shoulders. Let's see here.
Brian said Brian Carr said Jason and I met at ZoloCon 2025.
Yes, that's what it was.
You were absolutely right. Christopher Bouchard said, how's the next AWOK comic? I think it's just coloring that has to be finished, correct?
It's coloring, yeah. So Utama sent me page 20 at the show, and then he wasn't happy with page 7, so he resent that. So I'm glad we didn't start coloring it yet, because we would have had to redo a whole page. But yeah, let's see here. Grimes, sorry. So I'll go ahead and start downloading that. Yeah. So I plan on coloring that during the Thanksgiving break, getting that knocked out, and then hopefully we'll have some physical copies of it at ZoloCon. I'm getting tired of waiting to hear from like a publisher. I kind of want to just go ahead and do like a trade paperback of issues 1 through 5, and if they want to do a reprint after, instead of just waiting. Let's see here. All right,
I support that. And I know a lot of people do too.
Right. I mean, it's like
a lot of people keep asking, can I get physical comic books? Yeah, exactly. Larry's Geeky World, who we met at Legion's Con. It was awesome to meet Larry. He said, I love the new quiver and arrows for the Ranger. Now we need a custom hooded cloak for him. Yes, you'll need a cloak that you'll probably want a hole in the back so that you can still peg that into the back. But
yeah.
Mr. Ryan Clark says, I've always wondered how a factory can replicate an artist's intricate paint design thousands of times. It is very complicated, but in a weird way, it's also really a lot simpler.
It's broken down into steps. There's a lot of paint masks. There's essentially there's no person sitting there with a paintbrush. It's all masked off stuff. If you look at what their paint masks look like, they're basically these bronze or copper shells that look really ugly, but it blocks off just what they need, so that way they can get it nice and crisp. And just to give you an idea of how complicated it is, if you look at like the older Hasbro Build-A-Figures, especially something like what's the big robot's name? Not Ultron. So if you look at the original Ultron, you could tell that figure was essentially put together at several different factories, because like the paint apps are just all over the place. Because what they're doing is like they might have 2 figures out of that Build-A-Figure at one factory, and then another 2 at a totally different factory. And it gives you a good visual representation of the challenges that are associated with doing a figure in general. So I just sent y'all some images. I see Brick's got it.
I'll pull it up in a sec. JMac774 says, such a fantastic comic. Love the story. Made my love for the figures so much deeper. 100%. That's where Brick and I kind of started, was like the figures looked cool, and then we got into the lore, and it was like, well,
thank you.
We're in. Brian Carr says trade paperback, please. Would love that. GameQuest says really support the trade paperback idea.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And a trade paperback's a lot more sturdy, so we could sell that type of stuff at shows. We did experiment with the singles at conventions, but getting them there is a crapshoot without them getting dinged up. And then getting them home, I seem to have like way worse luck. I think because there's a lot less to ship, so stuff's bouncing around and getting dinged up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's and that's what we've said, kind of the whole time, is that like, there's just a lot of moving, and floppies
literal moving.
Are floppy. They don't travel well. They're not built for that. They're built to be picked up at your local comic book shop.
Right.
And then,
where did that come from?
No, I was gonna show this instead.
Oh.
Whoops.
That's hilarious. We've seen it before. It's okay.
I think Rick pulled this up and then shared my shared thing.
Oh, I didn't share anything. Mine, I put it in the window. Oh, I reloaded it.
Were you talking to Arlen recently or something?
Here, do you see mine? Oh, they both are up. That's weird.
Yeah, no. Mine is up.
But that's your screen. Yeah. I see it.
Yeah. Anyways,
mine's there.
This is the cigar
Rick's
head
because it's got your icon at the top.
Can you share the other one and I can zoom in and sort of show that? And then I have the the other thing ready if you want to get that started too, so I can just pop it up after.
Here, let me.
Here, I'll add to the stage like this.
There, it should.
You have to remove that one here. I got it.
That's hilarious.
What was that?
Oh, that's what I thought I was doing. Yeah.
That was a different figure line, I think. What was that? Here, let me. So this is what who was asking for this? About this?
Who was asking for this? Sorry, I've already lost it.
But here it is, if you were asking.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever it was that asked for this, here it is. Here's your update. It was somebody in the chat. I don't know. I can't remember. I had it start and then I got rid of it when we pulled it up.
There's a lot of texture on this guy. Mm-hmm. I've always wondered, Jason, how do you, given that there is an art direction established from the other figures, and I obviously you're trying to improve them, and people are working at different things at different times. How do you make sure that like this fur texture doesn't look super different from the fur textures from those first figures?
So I think Arlen kind of set the art style as far as like the sculpting goes for wave one. And then we started taking if you've watched the sequel to The Incredibles, you'll notice at the beginning of the movie, the graphics are very similar to the first one. And then as they go into the movie, it gets slightly more detailed until by the end, it's noticeably more detailed. Mm-hmm. And that's essentially what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So this is still Arlen's sculpting work. It's funny because I can tell Arlen and Dan's stuff apart. But the goal is for them to be very seamless.
Right.
So Arlen and Dan both sculpted the Void. But I think I can't tell. I mean, I know what they are, but it's very hard to tell which parts who worked on. And that's essentially the goal with all the figures. But not to do too hard of a segue, but I saw the Big Bad Toy Store and at Legion's Con, and I was like, "Oh, Arlen sculpted that," and Bill was like, "Yep, he did." And then they showed off the nuns, and I was like, "Oh, Dan did that," So I think we've got enough figures released or shown now where you can really kind of see their styles. Anytime we do a figure that's very like long hair heavy, it'll probably be Dan because he really excels at doing the hair. Mm-hmm. I say excels; they're both fantastic, but I think he enjoys doing the hair a little bit more.
What I find fascinating when you look at the 3D sculpts, when you look at something like this, right? If you didn't know what this line was from, and if you just saw this head and you were sort of like, and if somebody was like, "Hey, do you think this would work for Animal Wars of the Kingdom?" I personally would be like, I don't know, like there's more than like it doesn't look detailed. Toy enough. And then you see this painted, and you're like, "Oh wow!" It makes just sense. A lot of it is like how you paint it and how you make it because it makes sense. Like when you put the eyes in, right?
Yeah,
like
that's what really brings it.
Molded plastic with a couple of paint apps. If this was painted, like fully custom painted, you could put this in any line you wanted, and it would look
right.
Fantastic.
I feel like it would go great with Legions.
The quality of the sculpts. I was thinking Legions. I was even thinking like Operation Monster Force, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
the Sasquatch body, and all of a sudden you got like a big sort of dog soldier. that would look amazing. It's just in how you paint it and sort of what happens to it, which is interesting when you say like you can pick out, Dan and Arlen sculpts and stuff like that. And Jason, you and I went, you won't remember this, so you probably won't even know what I'm talking about, but you and I kind of went back and forth about a couple particular accessories, and I was like, oh, there's something different about these. And you're like, oh, they were sculpted by this person. And I was like,
right.
Oh, it was like one of the sculptors that's done work in the line, but not a lot of work in the line. And it was like,
so
oh,
Carter
that's
does a
different.
lot of
and then
stuff.
You paint them and they're like
the
oh,
gun you had earlier.
Right.
That was Carter's.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey,
take them out of the line and you're like, well, that doesn't really fit. And then you put it in, you're like, this is perfect.
Quick time check. We should probably start the collecting. I have it set up. So let people know so they can start typing in.
Absolutely. Do it. We are going to give away a Necro Pale figure. You have to be here to win it. What we ask is that if you were at Legion's Con, please don't enter. You had a chance to get one. And if you are an international winner, we will just ask that you pay the shipping. We'll say the shipping. I might cover part of it depending on, where you are. We won't, ding you too much for that. But we're going to give away one of these guys because we like exclusives, but we don't like them to be impossible to get. This will, of course, be a figure that will be available at a later date to everybody. But as of right now, if you weren't at Legion's Con, you really just have to win one today or beg us tomorrow. Other than that, I am going to just share a couple last things. So we posted this. We've shown this before, and this has been up before. This is the Fang Torn Knight. So just to sort of tell people and just to sort of share with people, because I think this is something that gets a little bit lost. And when people were asking us like, oh, I saw this thing on the Kickstarter. Do you have it at the table? We have a lot of figures that we intend to make that might not be out for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Spiro Toys isn't going anywhere. Animal Warriors of the Kingdom isn't going anywhere. This is the Fang Torn Knight. So this is a wolf soldier who makes his appearance in the comic books, I think in issue 5. This is a very old render. Like this render is, 5, what is it, 2022 like on there?
It's from 22. Yeah, it's from 2022.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a render that's almost 4 years old. It still hasn't made it into any sort of production figure. So we also showed last week, and I'll show it again because people
to
love
be clear,
it.
Sorry, when you say render, we're talking like a 2D.
Yeah, we're talking
render,
like a character, a character sheet.
Just because people hear render and they think figure renders for marketing.
Yes, this is an art. This is an art render in 2D for a character design that does exist in the comic book, but does not exist in any sculpted form as of right now. But this is, one of those things where it's like, just because you see it doesn't mean that it's sort of the next thing in line. I only show this again for like the 10th time. People are still seeing it for the first time and they're like, I want that right now. I only use this to sort of set up the next slide because the brawler isn't even here. The bears will be on the brawler body. These are two of the designs that we sort of have, 2D artistic designs for, but that doesn't even guarantee that we're going to make bears. But just sort of a little bit of an insight, a little bit sort of behind the curtain in terms of like, when people are like, when are you going to make this species? You guys should do this. A lot of those conversations are happening anyway. Most species that people kind of throw out there are things that we've talked about, that we've sort of said, okay, what body would that need to be on? What body would we want that to be on? Does it fit within the body types that we already have, or will we need a new one? So, there's other body types that we intend to do that weren't even in the, 37 body types that we added in the second Kickstarter. So it's kind of like, just be patient. If you love the line now, just wait until we're sort of at the level that the Four Horsemen are at, where we've got.
It's hard for us not to compare to the Four Horsemen. That's who we idolize, but
that's
we
the gold standard.
We have to realize that this is year 3 for us, not 25, you know? So
yes.
You have to try to keep that in mind. And we've got a bunch of awesome stuff planned out. It's just a matter of, we just got to keep ahead and do stuff. Keep pushing ahead.
And I will stress too that doesn't even account for the things that we want to do on the bodies that we already have that we haven't done.
Right. Yeah.
Like we have, different versions of characters, or like new characters, or like new paint application, or like new decos and things like that, where we, with the Lego blocks that we have at hand, we have lists of like,
I believe that's copyright infringement what you just did here, but okay.
What's
well,
what? I was like, what?
And I will just say that
hypothetical,
yeah, sure. We just put up the Necropale and the Ranger, and so that's an example of the many opportunities you can still do with the existing buck. So what could be done with the lizard body? What could be done with some of those brawlers? Like, so, and then
exactly.
So in other words, Travis, chill out, dude. Chill out.
In other words, everyone chill out. You're gonna get what you want. Like that's the
lovingly
other thing,
chill out.
Is that like love it, like politely chill. We're not trying to make anybody chill out, but just be patient and understand that there's only so much bandwidth. That was a word that I use at Legions Con a lot. Our bandwidth is only so much. As companies grow and expand, and they can increase their bandwidth, but as it sort of is for us at the moment, we're really only kind of doing one wave at a time. We're kind of doing one project at a time. We are sort of looking to expand that, of course, as everybody that's making toys is, it seems like, which is part of the problem, because there's only so many factories, there's only so many project managers, and there's only so much stuff that can be made at one time.
Exactly. So. But we thank everyone for your patience and believing in us. But I think what's going to happen is, as Adam said, like we're doing one wave at a time, but our goal is to get to a point where, we're in production for one wave, and then production for another wave is overlapping. So that way we're getting like, 9 to 12 figures per year. That's our goal. And then, once we reach that goal, then we'll reevaluate and see what we can do, and to expand that.
Mr. Ryan Clark said eventually that polar bear will have to fight the G.I. Joe polar bear and the Mythic Legions polar bear.
Yes.
Honestly, though, knowing how big each of those would be, that Mythic Legions polar bear is going to crush the other two.
Huge. I want the polar bear. I want our polar bear to ride their polar bear. In a cowboy type of way, not in a sexual way.
It could.
I think
we'll
could.
leave that up to panels.
How do you separate?
It's taller than I think it's taller than the troll when it's on its hind legs.
Yes, I think it is. Yeah, the Mythic Legions bear, not our bear. Our bear is a little smaller.
Definitely.
Sean Colleran said, if you do the bears, we need a brown bear, a polar bear, and a panda, so we can have the We Bear Bears tribute figures. Here's the thing, Sean. The panda bear will be on a different body. I'm insistent that the panda bear has to be like a chubby guy.
Right. Yeah.
And we have other characters and other figures that we want to do on a more rotund body. So the We Bear Bears 3-pack Comic-Con exclusive we'll push that out a few years. But I'm right there with you on that one.
I don't even know what We Bears are. What are We Bears?
I have no idea.
So We Bear Bears, in my opinion, We Bear Bears is the Bluey of 5 years ago that just didn't reach the same.
Wasn't that like an Adult Swim thing or no?
I don't know. I mean, I'm in Canada, so I don't have Adult Swim. It was on, our networks, and like my wife and I watched it more than our kids ever did.
Okay.
And there's an episode for anybody that's never watched We Bear Bears. There's so there's We Bear Bears where they're kind of like adult bears or teenage. I don't know. They're old enough that they live on their own. But there's also episodes where they're like babies. And there's an episode where they're babies, where they're in a UPS type warehouse. And there's a song in that episode that makes me tear up every single time. Still to this day, when I watch it, I'm like, so We Bear Bears has it's got the humor, it's got the emotion. It's like, go check it out. If you like bears.
I'm interested.
Go check it out.
Definitely interested.
Christopher Bouchard says, can't wait for a new orange tiger character and the lizards. Of course. Endless Fables. Brian, shout out to Brian, who had
Brian
his
helped us during the
we
show.
sold a bunch of his flags at the show. He also helped out with setup and with teardown, and he also, I think, watched the table a couple times when I had to run to the bathroom when I didn't know where Jason had gone.
I never leave the table. I don't know what you're talking about.
He was also generous enough to gift me with a couple of his flags, which I love, and I can't wait to build a dio kind of with the intention of displaying those really properly. Mr. Wonderful says, with the consideration of that statement of bandwidth, something like the expansion into Bushido, how will that limit your bandwidth on AWOK? That is a very good question. But it's sort of related to the fact that we're working on increasing our bandwidth. Bushido is very likely going to be done in a different factory, so we'll have concurrent factories working on separate lines, just to sort of prevent the kind of backlog that we would potentially have if we said, okay, we're going to do an AWOK wave, then a Bushido wave, then an AWOK wave, then a Bushido wave. So that's sort of the whole idea of kind of diversifying the sort of not diversifying, but sort of allocating the workload to different places to sort of alleviate that.
Yeah, it's a good rule. Like if you think about the factory, think of these factories more like a micro brewer for beer. They just can't take on too much work. And even the factories that Hasbro and Mattel use, they either have factories that they own that they can prioritize certain SKUs, but a lot of times they're outsourcing to smaller factories, and they'll still just run one SKU of a lot, of a figure of, one SKU of a wave of figures that might have like 8 figures in it. So there's just so much that they can run through at one particular time.
Mr. Ryan Clark, I have made note of this comment because I absolutely love this idea. He says, you should also do the bears in pastels so that someone can customize them into Care Bears.
That's the kind of thing that would make an amazing convention exclusive. Like each year you do it.
Like one color per year as like an exclusive that you have to kind of
you have to like show up. Yeah.
I'm gonna push for Grumpy Bear #1. He's my favorite Care Bear.
He's the blue one, right?
He's the blue one that is grumpy. He's the one that I relate the most to. He's the only stuffed Care Bear that I currently own that lives on my bed. So yeah, Grumpy Bear is my go-to. Grumpy Bear, I think, is my spirit animal. When people say, oh, he's my spirit animal, he's probably the closest thing to my spirit animal that exists.
I feel like if I was an animal, I'd be a golden retriever, or like an old, or like a bloodhound, maybe. Like just like.
No, I think golden retriever works.
Golden retriever, yeah,
I think so. Let's see. I'm trying to kind of catch up on comments, and then we'll do the draw, and then we'll wrap things up. Because unless there's anything else that you guys have, but that's sort of what I've got.
I gotta hop off soon too, so it works out.
Yeah, I got a show.
Mr. Ryan Clark says, "I'd like my name featured on the packaging, please." If we do the Care Bears, he's claiming that was.
You can write the bio.
Yeah, exactly. But avoid copyright infringement, which is not as easy as it sounds.
And no chat GBT allowed.
All right, let's take a look. We have got I gotta do that, and then I can do this. 16 entries. Man, you got a pretty good shot. If you are watching and you want to win
odds
and you haven't that's really good odds. Looks like there's a lot more people watching than that. If you want to win,
I think people also are being thoughtful about the not attending.
If there were a
lot of these folks.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to everybody that is thoughtful.
Good
players. I think. Let's be honest. I think that's kind of our crowd. I think
it looks like they're bumping. Look, they're bumping up entries right now. So just maybe show them the alternate brown bear. I just recolored it while we were talking. I don't know how much I was like, how quiet I was while I was recoloring it, but someone while we were at the booth, someone pointed out that we didn't have enough green figures, and like green's my least favorite color. So I was like, that's actually a good point. So I recolored the bear while we were all talking, and I sent it in the chat. I sent it to the wrong chat. Wow.
I was going to say, it's not in the chat.
Give me a second.
Who'd you send it to? Somebody's like, wow, this looks cool. Why did you send it to me?
I don't want to say who I sent it to. I'll tell you offline. It's not bad. It's just funny.
I see it.
There you go. So there's the new bear. I mean, I think it looks better.
I think it. Yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot.
Comparing, the green looks good. I'm just trying to remember what the other look like.
It's blue. It's very similar to it's too much blue.
Yeah, you got a lot of that going on.
Out. Yeah, so I think a green kind of.
Now I will stress, this does not mean, and I also will pull this down because I don't know what else is in those pictures. I think it's all just production.
Yeah,
pictures.
No, you don't want that next one.
But
although that looks cool.
But I will stress that is not a final. That is by no means the final deco for that. It doesn't mean that because we showed it today that you're gonna get it.
Yeah, it might end up with a bear skull head. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. As a helmet.
You know, it's so funny you say that because the Four Horsemen had a bunch of different animal skulls as a pack, and I was planning on having a specific Dio to show at Legion's Con, and so I took my skeleton warriors and like put the animal heads on it and everything so that I could place it on the diorama, and none of that happened. So hopefully at some point at a show we'll be able to display our skeleton animal set piece
soon.
Yeah, Sean, like it makes sense. It's more of like a brown bear in the forest and everything. So
Oh, you know what? Before we make this draw, there is one other piece of information, AWOK related, that I think we should probably bring up. So Motuniverse, which is a Motu con, they announced something fun the other day. Did you want to go ahead and to talk about that at all, Jason?
I talked to Mega J about it, and I was going over like the numbers that they need to raise. And they said they don't feel comfortable with, announcing it because one, it's not going to be at the show, and then they have to try to figure out how to ship it, and they're worried about raising the funds for it. Yeah. So what I told them was, the design's not going to go out of date. It's not like a piece of bread or milk or something. So maybe on their whenever they have their second annual event, then they can offer that as an exclusive. And it's basically the reptile figure as an homage to Cobra Khan.
Yeah.
So it'll just be like a fun exclusive for them that they can kind of revisit, for next, not the first one, but their second one.
They did announce it. They announced it potentially for the first one, but I think it would just be good since we're doing AWOK business and as an opportunity to make another pitch for folks to, if they didn't know about it. Yeah, Motuniverse is a new fan-created Motu-centric convention that's going to be Memorial Day weekend 2026. So that's May, I think 23rd, 24th in Torrance, California. So I think it's really exciting. And they went ahead and announced it, I think, a couple of days ago or something. But it still remains to be seen what the final thing was. But it's kind of cool. They hit up Jason, and they are essentially at some point there'll be another tribute figure like Tanger.
Right. And we want to keep doing those things that are fun.
What was the other dude's name?
To have them. Say again. I'm sorry.
What was the other dude's full name? The guy that was supposed to come out.
Felonious Barton. So that is part of the Brawler production. So it's essentially a King Hannibal repaint.
Yes. I just think it's kind of cool for folks to know that, there's other fun opportunities for Spearow and Animal Warriors of the Kingdom to do things like this. And I love the idea of there being a potential exclusive at Motuniverse, either this first one in May or maybe the second from Spiro Toys. Because, yeah, man, Masters of the Universe.
We love our Moto. Motu? Is it Motu? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a cool little piece of nerd news. I don't know if we have that picture,
that'd be fun.
Just to let folks know that's a fun thing that's happening. May 23rd, May 24th, Motuniverse, Torrance, California. Keep looking out. Maybe Spiro will be there.
I'm sorry. I was reading the chat. Say again. I'm sorry.
I said maybe Spiro will be there.
I don't know if we're going to be at this one. I have to figure it out. Like I don't normally plan that far ahead unless it's stuff that we go to like every single year, you know?
Yeah.
We'll be at Legion's Con.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We know we'll be at Legion's Con. Right. So right now I know we're doing Zolo and Toylanta and Joe Fest. That's what I have on my like radar.
Word. All right. Shall we draw?
Yeah, let's do it.
Shoot, I got a show in 10 minutes. Woot woot.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
We gotta...
Dead last call. We're gonna hit the draw in 5, in 4, in 3, 2, and 1.
For a Necro Armor Pail, the winner, please message me. The easiest way is probably to do Mr. Ryan.
Oh, look at that. That worked out. That's funny.
Ryan, you've messaged me before. Message me. I need your address. That's all I need. Address and your real name if it isn't Ryan Clark. But I feel like I sent you something already, so I probably actually have that information, but send it to me again. We'll get this figure sent out to you. All right, that's gonna be a wrap. Brick's got his regular news show in 9 minutes. Who you got on today?
It's Blake from Recon Rage, who was at Legion's Con. So I wasn't able to go, so I wanted to bring somebody in who was able to actually like walk around and see a bunch of stuff and just come on and talk all about it. And then he's got a fun announcement at the end of it, especially for us West Coasters. So come on by in about 8 minutes.
8 minutes. You barely have enough time to refill your drink, get a bathroom break, and then go over to Brick Something's channel and check in on that. As always, it's been a pleasure. This is a fun one. I can only speak for myself, but I will say that it was so late. This Legion's Con was without a doubt the easiest, most fun Legion's Con I've had. There was no. We didn't have to drive to South Jersey.
Yeah.
Once we got there, and once the figures
easiest
arrived,
is like it's like
weekend
more
was so smooth and
exactly
so easy.
Once things actually happened, but things didn't happen till the very last minute. But
what we did was we just got all the stressful stuff done before the show instead of during the show, which is the way to go.
Jason almost didn't make it. Or was delayed.
I wasn't
and all
sure.
That
I mean, I was like, Brick. I think
he got it way worse than I did.
Did he get his flights done? Did he get his flights sorted out? And at that point, I genuinely didn't know. I knew that he was he was scrambling to get everything done. Yeah. And then the next thing I heard from him, he's like, "Yeah, I'm in Atlanta already. Like, I'm just waiting for my next flight." And I was like, "Okay, thank goodness." But then, I mean, you didn't go into too much detail, Jason. You arrived at 1:30 in the morning. You had to like message people, hoping somebody was still awake to let you sleep on the floor.
So
because you didn't know when you were going to get there, like if you were going to get there. But anyway,
so I stayed with the two Carloses. When I got to the hotel, I got in. I was like, "Can I get some extra sheets and stuff?" And they're like, "We wish you guys wouldn't ask us to do this at 1:30 in the morning." And I was like, "I totally understand. I just got in. I want to fly in." Anyway, I went upstairs. I can hear that one of them showering, and I was like, I got to pee so bad. So I went downstairs, used the restroom, saw my bloodshot eyes, walked around a little bit, and I was like, they're probably done showering by then. Went upstairs, and they were like, "You sure you don't mind sleeping on the floor?" And I was just like, I sleep on the floor at the house like twice a week. I don't mind sleeping on the floor. Like, I like sleeping on the floor. So I got a good night's sleep, woke up, and then we went eat breakfast, and then Adam showed up at 10, I believe. Yeah. And then we just kind of hit the ground running after that. It was wild.
Amazing.
It was fun. We had a great time. It was awesome.
Yeah. And now it's all done for another year. Or until we hit the next con or whatever.
Right.
Anyway.
I will say one more thing that like as I was falling asleep, I kept thinking about all my warm clothes that were still wet in the dryer at home. And I was like, damn, I'm so close. I could have just 10 more minutes and I would have had warm clothes.
Amazing.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Plan your lives, folks.
Can I close this out or do I need to leave it open?
Leave it open.
Leave it open. Okay. It was great talking to y'all. I have to run and get
me
some
too.
groceries.
And the stream is still going. So tell us something really personal. Go.
I have to go and get dog pads at